Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a royale review for Girlfriends episode. Okay, I'm a little tossed up. The correct episode number will be on the title video, but I done got a little confused because it's labeled as episode 9 on Pluto, but that's not the correct episode order. I don't think. The episodes are out of order on Pluto, but they're in order other places. I believe that the other places are actually accurate. But okay, look. The correct episode number will be on the video when it's posted. Howsoever, the name of the episode, I got that for a fact. It's called The Remains of the Date. And this would be another follow-up episode from the episode Hypocrisy that kicked off the whole internet dating situation where they met the man with the hips, and then you had the episode I Pity the Fool where Joan was going back and forth with the man with the hips, and he was being weird and she was being weird, and it was all just weird. Well, the oddities have not stopped there, as this episode has the perfect name, and we gonna find out why. We're gonna discuss why. We're gonna review why. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of this episode. Now, this is a Halloween episode, and we started off in Joan's office, late night, look like she putting in some overtime or whatever, doing her thing, and she hear a crashing going on through there. Now, of course, she is there by herself for the most part. So she like, what is going on? And you know, Joan already be a little frantic and, shaky and things. And she hear that crash, she get up, she walk out of her office into like that little lobby area where Maya's desk be. And she like, hello, is anybody there? And then the light shut off. And she hears some more noise. And she started whimpering and carrying on. And she backs it on back up into her office. Closed the door. I don't know why she didn't lock it. She wasn't thinking. But closed her door. Went on over to the phone. Started calling down to security like, hey, this is Joan Clayton. I'm up here by myself trying to do some work. I'm on the 27th floor. I heard something. Went out. Now the hall lights turns off. Hello? Hello? Is it me you're looking for? Well, honey, she done been met with a dial tone. And ain't nobody on the phone. No more. And now she is even more shaking in the boots because the lights in her office done shut off. So she starts saying, that prayer that go, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not fear. I shall not want. And all that. She run over to her door. I guess she plans to either lock it or she was going to run out. But then the handle, honey, breaks and the knob comes on out. She started whimpering and sobbing even more. She backing it on up over to her cabinet. She got a bunch of books and things, and now she want to try to stuff herself up in there. First of all, she too tall. Second of all, it ain't one of them cabinets that's made for all that. And she got too much stuff up in there, so it's a no-go. So then she run on back over to her desk and she hides up under the desk. Now, if it was a real situation, granted, you don't know what you would do unless you in that situation like talking about. Because sometimes, you just get so swept away with the fear or whatever it is, and you don't really be thinking. But had she been thinking, she would grab some of them utensils, maybe some scissors, a stapler or something, that laptop that she was working on, the computer screen or something, and prepare to whack somebody upside the head, go in and let half. But she wasn't thinking about all that. Joan is Joan. She has a flight response more than a fight response. So she flew up under the desk and commenced to just cowering and whimpering and sobbing and all of that. And at that point, the door starts to open. And a man walks in with some nice shoes on and stands over her from where she is up under the desk. And then he just falls to the floor like the man from I Know What You Did Last Summer. The second one, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. When that man fell down to the floor and he had this spear or whatever in his bike. Well, this man here got a security uniform on and a knife in his bike. And he done fell to the floor right in front of her. And baby, she is screaming her head off. She is no more good in this situation. But then the man lifts his head up and say, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. And it's William ass. is William playing a practical joke, a little pranky prank on your girl. Man, I would have been pissed. Big pissed. And I don't know if you would consider this whole situation startling, but I hate being startled. So to be in a situation like this, especially when he, done fell to the floor, you would assume that whoever this is done fell to the floor is done for. And then he lift up and go to scream, he would have been kicked in the face. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey, no jam. Then we get the opening credits, and then, honey, after the opening credits, we get the first official scene of the episode, whereas the girls are out to lunch, I would suppose. And Joan is giving them the rundown on all of the teams that William had done put down the night before doing the whole little pranky prank and such. And she like, bruh, I almost wet my pants. Like, come on, y'all ain't funny. Because they sitting up laughing at her. Which it is low-key, high-key funny. But Tony is telling her, look, just turn the tables back on him and scare him back. And Lynn says, baby, threaten to make him pay rent. It always scared me. Joan said, not enough to make you pay rent. She said, oh my gosh, observe, I am frightened into paralyzation. Can't even reach for my checkbook. Brett, Lynn and Tony are literally her kids. For real, that is so crazy. But that's how some friendships be. And you got to be careful about this shit because it can take you into being drained. Like, sometimes it can be like that if you got the proper boundaries. But of course, we already know that Joan don't set boundaries very well. And when you in a situation like that and you don't set boundaries very well, eventually it can drive the mama of the crew stone crazy and or just completely drain them type shit. So it also bears the question. Now, there are a lot of different ways that Lynn and Tony do come through for Joan and operate as like real friends in a way. But at the same time, I just want to spark a little question. Would y'all say that Tony and Lynn are true friends to Joan, being the fact that they low-key, high-key know they be taking advantage of her and taking advantage of the fact that she's a people pleaser? Granted, you got to teach people how to treat you to an extent. But at the same time, just because somebody is allowing you to disrespect them or whatever, or is easy to disrespect, doesn't mean that you should. It still says a lot about you that you would take the opportunity to just sit up and be endlessly disrespectful and parasitic. Especially if and when you see these same people bend themselves into a pretzel to be all that they can be for other people. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. But we press on forward in the midst of this conversation. And Maya tells Joan that she got to get into the mind of a black man. It takes more than juvenile pranks to scare them. Now, at this point, Joan says, all right, fine. And she catches Davis as he's walking by. And she asks him, what scares a black man? And Davis says, Bush, Cheney. That shows the time period as well. I was in elementary school at this time. But in modern day, I guess he would say Trump, Biden. A mess. But I love also how they didn't give away another obvious answer in this particular moment either. But just hold that thought on all that. Hold that thought on the fact that David said Bush and Cheney. And then also think about what they didn't say. Okay? Just hold off on that. So he walks off and they have a laugh about what he just said. Joan then says, look, my Halloween party is this weekend and I need to come up with something brilliant, something foolproof. And in the midst, William walks up behind her and startles her, tickling her and shit from behind. That would, I hate being startled. I hate being startled so much. I hate seeing other people be startled. But he startles her once again and she continues her sentence by saying something painful. Absolutely. Because I just would have been ready to fight. So now, next scene, it is indeed the weekend. This weekend, Joan is gonna be pranking William. Hey, okay, so it's the weekend and it's Joan's Halloween party. And she's excited. She's dressed as a clown. And she hustles her butt on over to Lynn, all excited and everything, saying that she just got another compliment on her costume. And it's cute. It's cute. It's like basic, but she did some unique stuff with it all at the same time. And you know, it's cute for her. And like she's telling Lynn this, and she said she's so glad she spent an extra $5 on her corsage because it's a big old flower corsage that sprouts and spits out water. That's funny. That's funny. See, she did some unique shit with it, you know, because you wouldn't expect that. You wouldn't expect that. But she squirts on Lynn. She squirts on Lynn. Oh, sorry. Dirty minds. Okay, one time. She squirts on Lynn. And Lynn is like, hey, don't get Sigmund Freud all wet. And John is like, wait a minute, is that who you are? I've been telling everybody that you Frederick Douglass. And Lynn says, no, of course, Freud, what you mean? All this time I put in for my master's degree in psychology, I'm finally getting a chance to use it to some degree. And Joan says, well, yeah, you also got a master's in African American history. And the funny thing is, you've never gotten a job from either of them. Unfortunate. And Lynn responds to that by saying, well, there is no job good enough that will pay off 10 years of my student loans. So that's another conversation. And I like how this episode is focused on one thing that's all about like shits and giggles and not so serious stuff, but there are some other deep, serious conversations sprinkled all up and through it, and they made it funny as shit. That is top tier smart comedy for your ass. Shout out to the writers of Girlfriends. I also shout out to the actors and actresses for being able to have such delivery that fits the whole vibe perfectly. Now, about this conversation with Lynn and her not being able to find a job that would pay off 10 years of her student loans and all of that. On one hand, that's some real shit, you know? Because student loans be student loaning. But at the same time, I feel like that's just another excuse that Lynn has for why she can't, aka does not want to be an actual responsible adult for herself. And granted, you know, who wants to pay bills, okay? Howsoever, it is what it is. And you be doing all of this other stuff, girl, you so smart, you so creative. You got what it takes to figure it out. Everything itself, apparently, the bravery to actually go forth on that specific thing, to be responsible for yourself. And can't she get a teaching job? I know that she would likely have to do something like go to school or take some type of classes, courses, or whatever to get a teaching certification. But she could do that, and there are certain teaching jobs. No, correct me if I'm wrong, explain it to me, break it down. But there are certain teaching jobs that you can get that can help you pay off your student loans, as well as certain things she could do for the state, for the government, that could also help her with student loans. And yes, it's easier said than done, but most things are easier said than done, but can still be done. Just like going to college is easier said than done. Finishing college is easier said than done. And she's done it multiple times, which means she is capable of almost anything amongst the little oddities of activities that she be having going on a regular basis, that she be getting away with and doing the most on. So clearly she is capable if that's what she really wants to do. She can figure it out. She also has friends in high and low places, midpoint places, and all that. Okay? She is also biracial. She is a light-skinned biracial at that. So she has a lot of privileges that she's not taking advantage of. Not to mention 10 years of student loans. She got multiple degrees, which means she didn't just learn about student loans yesterday. She knew about student loans when she was steady going to school over and over and over and over and over and over again. She's also staying with John rent free. She could take the time out to do what she needs to do to set up a payment plan and prioritize her finances accordingly. She could have been done that. She just steady making excuses. And Joan allows her to steady make excuses. Po, lil tink, tink. But continuing on with the party. Joan lets her walk on off and William enters. It makes me very uncomfortable the way that Joan just leaves her door unlocked. Because see, not to mention I'm also a person that hyper locks doors. Like, you could be a guest in my house and I will mindlessly lock you out. I could be at your house, and if I walk into a room and if you ain't too quick behind me, I will mindlessly lock you out. I done locked people out their own damn house. Unintentionally, not even thinking about it. And I know that can be irritating in itself, you know what I'm saying, if you're dealing with me just, on one hand, because I will lock some doors. Okay? Protect yourself at all times. And that's my point. This girl don't never have her door locked. Even at the office, she didn't lock the door. You running from somebody, quote unquote, and you didn't lock the door behind you. And then she just sit up in the house and her door ain't ever locked. She be having doors just all open and willy-nilly. And I know that you're having a party, but still, even when you having a party, baby, that's a time to make sure that you on high alert, because you got all these people up in your house and people be using parties as opportunities to steal and do dirty shit. Okay? Anywho, William enters through the front door that is unlocked. And he has on, his black man costume. And William. John tells William, honey, what is this? I said costume party, not pajama party. Now, I ain't gonna lie, his costume is fitting like a pajama set. And he got his meat all bulging and everything. It's a wonder they didn't put a sensor on the thing. Baby, put Big Willie up. But y'all, she clocks him about his costume. And he like, what you mean? I'm a black man, okay? What's the issue? Okay, you uncultured swine. It is society's most underappreciated superhero. All the way from the 1960s, okay? And he said black man doesn't sleep in pajamas. We just go all full nude in the nighttime. She said, oh, baby, okay, stop. Because I know it's Halloween, but you're doing way too much. Everything is way too frightening coming from you. And by this point, he laughs her off, and Maya struts on in the room doing some cheerleader moves as she is dressed as a cheerleader. And the initials on her costume uniform is FH. Fill me in. Is that an actual high school in LA with the initials FH? Down here it would be Forest Hill. Or is it a college with the initials FH in LA? I'm just curious. It'd be Easter eggs and stuff throughout Girlfriends. And I'd be curious about things. So I just want to know. I want to know, the history on the story about them. But yeah, Maya comes in and she looking cute and everything. I like the glitter and everything going on her face. Her makeup has been popping for the past couple of episodes, and I'm here for it. I love to see it. Because y'all know I'll be hard about Maya's costumage. So I gotta give her compliments when necessary too. Okay? Be just as loud about the good things as we are about the bad, okay? Even louder, honey, even louder. Your girl looks good. I'm here for it. Anywho, they asked her where Darnell is. She said he parked in the car. And guess what? Happened again right down on Jones' diverse block. They got pulled over by the cops for DWB, driving while black. And William says, I know you are not suggesting that you were victims of racial profiling, are you? Like, come on. And Mike says, baby, I'm not suggesting, honey, I'm testifying. What you mean? And William says, we'll never move ahead as a people until we get past this late 80s Al Sharpton victim mentality. And Maya says, oh, okay, thank you, Super Tom, as in Uncle Tom, the super version, because he got a cape. And that'd be one of the only things about William, and something that's highly rooted in reality about William, too. William is a cool ass dude. We love William, right? And a lot of the time, he be talking some real shit, but also he's a Republican. And that makes him say things that you would also cringe at. Some things that could be considered anti-black, out of touch, and tone deaf. And a part of it too, just like in real life when it comes to black Republicans, a large part of the reason why he is a Republican is because of his tax bracket. See, more serious conversations laced in this quote unquote less than serious episode. But Maya goes on to say, honey, if those cops weren't racist, explain why they called my Jabari, her son, a spook. And then Jabari and Darnell walk on in. And William says, well, maybe because he's dressed like a ghost. And Jabari says, no, boo-boo kitty, I am not dressed like a ghost. I am a napkin. Well, honey, easy mistake. And Darnell says, see, I told you nobody would get it unless he had a fork and a spoon. Why, yeah, but then they probably would have thought he was just a hungry ghost. Disc. So, yeah, I do believe that it's highly possible that they were racially profiled, okay? Because that's some real shit, especially given the fact of where they are in LA and also Jones' neighborhood. And like I said, you ain't got to be in LA and you ain't got to be in Jones' neighborhood either. But you know how she be. You know how she can be. I also believe that, you know, she could have misunderstood what the officers were saying when it came to Jabari because he does look like he is dressed like a ghost. Could it also be possible that they used that as an excuse to say something racially derogatory on the sly? That could also be very well possible. Whole lot of things being true at once here. But Joan, like the good TT she is, she tells Jabari to come on over and give her a hug. Gives him a big go hug. She's so cute, so cute. And Maya's still going on like, look, we got to stop from minding our own business, and I ain't having it. And Darnell is, you know, talking her down or whatever, just like, look, don't even make a big deal out of it. Don't even worry about it. Shit. It be like that sometimes. Hell, I'm so used to getting pulled over. I just learned to drive with my hands behind my head. Damn shame. It's funnily written, but a damn shame. So, Maya has every right to be upset. And people needs to be upset, you know what I'm saying? Because the anger is what influences action to be taken. But at the same time, you don't want to be angry all of the time. You want to know the time and the place to use your anger. And it's a time and a place to let that shit ride for the moment and enjoy the party. So I feel like that's where Darnell is coming from too. Like they at a party to have a good time. Let's just let that be at least for now. And also him potentially feeling like ain't nothing he can do about it. So why even dwell? Why even harbor? But John feels like they don't need to be talking about all of that in front of Jabari. And Jabari clocks her and says, hey, face it, Aunt Joan, the man's out to get us. And Maya said, you know what? He gets more and more like his daddy every day. He gonna make somebody a wonderful husband. And I just want to point out real quick that that's a very cute way to give him a compliment, you know, give her son a compliment as it concerns him having the potential to be great in relationships and good to women or little girls or whatever without sexualizing him. Because too many people don't know how to do that, don't understand that it's highly inappropriate to be sexualizing and fuckboylizing your sons. Child. But yeah, we're going to move on. Maya walks on out to the side, and William said, look, I'm finna just go ahead over and indulge in this hors d'oeuvres table over here. And I guess he feeling like he gonna have to take it easy all at the same time because his tights show every little bulge. Yeah, they do. You need to be walking around with a sensor sign. That costume should have came with a sensor sign. William got some nice legs though, child. So Dawn is left over there to be, mingling with Darnell, and she asks him what is he dressed as, and he tells her that he is dressed as a airline baggage supervisor. She said, "Ain't that what you do anyway, though?" He said, "No, I'm an airline baggage handler." Okay, yeah. Fake it till you make it. Okay, fake it till you make it. Manifest. But Joan ain't really all that impressed. She like, okay. By that time, Tony comes in with her date, and she is dressed as a sexy nun. And her date is dressed as a teddy bear. He's dressed as a stuffed animal. And the belly space on his costume is shaped like a heart. So I guess he's also a Valentine's Day bear. He's a Valentine's Day gift. How cute. So Joan compliments their costume, and Tony is like, "Baby, it was either grab this out the closet or go buy something." And Joan says, "Well, it's very sexy in a sacrilegious sort of way." And her date Eric says, "Well, not as sexy as the one she's gonna be wearing later." And this disgusts Tony, and she says, "Look, baby, I told you I would think about it, okay?" And you telling her business to her friend and carrying on. She already unsure. Damn, boy. Damn. And Joan is now concerned, like, what do he want you to wear? Dental floss? And she says, "Not what he wants me to wear, it's what he wants me to do. He wants a threesome." And Joan is not having it. She pulls her on over to the side and said, "Look, I'm going to give you the same answer that I gave Lynn. No." So Joan is thinking that she's being solicited, that she's being solicited for a threesome with them. And this reveals to us as well that Lynn has approached her to potentially engage in a threesome with her. That is hilarious. But Tony said, "Look, no, this is not about you, okay? The toy in the menage is a stuffed animal." And child, that is a thing for real. But just hold that thought. Joan is disgusted, like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Apparently he gets turned on by rubbing on soft, plushy things." And I'm like, "Ain't these titties soft and plushy enough? Like, what the hell?" And Joan is like, "Yeah, what the hell is you done brought into my house?" And Tony say, "Look, have you ever heard of that before? You ever done something like that before?" Joan says, "No, that is insane." And Tony says, "Yeah, that's the same thing I think. Like, what the fuck do he need a stuffed animal for when he's got me? These things here, these jugs, these healthy milk sacks put babies to sleep." And John is like, "Look, okay, that's just a segue, okay? At least we are on the common thoughts that you are not about to go through with this." And Tony said, "Baby, I'm still thinking. He is a stockbroker with a yacht." And John said, "Honey, at this point, you need an intervention." And she pulls her on further over to the side, and they going off to the kitchen so she can get her intervention. But before we go over there with them, we got to stop real quick with William. He is over here being fancied by this hot mama dressed as, I would have assumed that she's a genie. But that's not what he called her. That's not what he called her. He called her Lori the harem girl. So, evidently, she is dressed as a mistress, for lack of better terms, on some Middle Eastern culture type shit. And I'm saying it like that because I'm not sure if this is referencing something historical that I'm just ignorant about, or if this is something that came from an old show that was just before my time that, again, I'm just ignorant about. So yeah, but I feel like I would have called her Princess Jasmine, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, maybe that's what she saw him. Okay, she's Lori the harem girl, but the character's name is actually Lori, that we know of, at least. Anywho, he offers her some hors d'oeuvres, and she like, "Thanks, Superman." And he said, no, wait. I am not Superman. I am Black Man, okay? A little known character from the early 60s. I got all 9 issues in mint condition. The comics, that is. And she starts to looking confused, and he like, okay, I'm losing any chance I may have had here, aren't I? And she said, "Yeah, but the way you filling in and out those tights is winning me back." And he said, okay, okay. So them extra squats I've been doing been paying off. And she said, yeah, honey, they have. Now, this takes us on over into the kitchen with the girls for Tony's intervention. And Joan is giving him the rundown like, yes, with a stuffed animal. He wants us to have a threesome with a stuffed animal. And Lynn says, okay, so he's a plushie. So what, back then they were called plushies and now they're called furries? Do I have that right? Or are they called plushies when they want to do it with a stuffed animal, like physically, like up close and personal, and it's a furry when they have like they like to watch animal, what do they call those? Anthropomorphic animation porn, anthropomorphic hentai. Explain the difference if you know. Explain the difference to me between a plushie and a furry. Is it just a time period thing, or is the plushie specifically stuffed animals and furries are attracted to the animation animals? So yeah, Maya's like, wait a minute, honey, it got a name. There's a name for it. Other people are actually doing this. And she said, yeah, it's called Plush Love. It's the newest fetish on the block. They got a website. They're lobbying for discounts at Toys R Us. Now, see, that's just too much. And Joan agrees. Because she said, baby, this is just wrong. And Maya says, yeah, I agree. Why should they get discounts? And I feel where Maya coming from because she got a whole kid. They ain't giving her no discounts just for having a kid. Now, and Lynn goes on to say, well, if more people release their stress through fetishes, there'd be a lot less violence in the world. And Maya says, well, what about SZN? Ain't that violent? And she said, not when I do it. And honestly, you know, it is violence. It's sexual violence that people actually consent to. But at the same time, it still fits into Lynn's points. But it's a double-edged sword because you got to be careful what you normalize. Definitely got to be careful what you normalize. And people have to be very educated and in tune when it comes to consent. Okay? But Joan is like, hey. Listen, this is supposed to be an intervention, which means that we are supposed to be intervening on the plans, not giving this girl more ideas. Do I need to define the word intervention? Gosh. And she storms off, grabs some more hors d'oeuvres, and proceeds to go about working the room and whatnot. And William comes on around the corner and said, look, I peep you, Joan. I see what you got going. You done convinced that Lori girl to seduce me as part of your revenge. Joan said, baby, I do not even know Lori, and I don't know what you talking about. Second of all, how is getting an attractive woman to seduce you revenge? And William says, well, I don't know. She could be frigid. She could be psychotic. You know, she could be a Democrat. Really, sir? Really? And Joan starts to tell him, baby, well, if that's how you feel, then why don't you just focus your energy on all the other many women around here giving you flirtatious attention? And he said, you know what? You got a good point. Because it ain't no other many women around that giving him no flirtatious attention. And he walks on off, and Joan kind of continues behind him, but she links up with David, who I feel like, besides the whole ugly teeth that he got in his mouth, he actually is looking quite nice in his caveman costume. That's a good look on him, you know? I don't really, like, he's a handsome dude, but it's something about him in that caveman costume that had me looking like, yeah, okay. But Joan stopped and talked to him because evidently he is helping her set up William. And he's going through all these different code colloquialisms, like has the bird flown the coop, and is the fish catching the bait, and are the tortilla chips in the bag? Is the mother bird in the nest? And Joan is like, baby, what is you saying? Please explain it to me like I'm 5. And he said, look, is William catching the bait? Is William falling into the trap that we set? And she says, oh, yes. The fire burns bright at midnight. Now he confused. She said, yeah, honey. He's talking about, look, what? Is it going or is it not? And she like, look, baby, I don't know. It's too much going on at this here party. I am confused. And in that time, Davis's date walks up and she is dressed as Miss South County. Little pageant tease. And she says her name is Debbie Ray Parker. And she goes through this whole pageant spiel. And they think that it's just a big, she gives introduction, where she from, what she majored in, her aspirations in life. And they just think it's just part of the costume. It's just part of her committing to the act of it all. But no, Davis explains to Joan that that's not a bit. She really is Miss South County. And Joan says, oh, okay, go, yeah, hooray, go team. And they picked a black woman. And Davis says, they don't know. As in, they don't know that she black. That's too deep of a conversation for us to get into at the moment. But Joan says, well, does she know that she black? Questions that need answers, honey. Questions that need answers. And on that note, Davis just escorts her on off to the side and they go about their merry way. Because it's just getting way too into the thick of it here. Into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. Exactly, okay? Like I said, a conversation too deep and too triggering for the masses to get into at the moment. Now, the next scene, William is dropping off Lori, and she thanks him for taking her home early, saying she got to get back to her bottle before Major Nelson gets upset. Okay, so evidently she is a genie, but genies in some cases are slaves, huh? Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research, or y'all gonna have to fill me in. Something else that came to mind. It had been came to mind, but once they got the camera all up in her face in this particular scene, it came to mind even higher. And now I got to find out, is this one of Tracy Ellis Ross' sisters? Because she looks a lot like Diana Ross. And of course, therefore, she looks a lot like Tracy. And this could very well be one of Tracy's sisters. The actress, More questions than need answers. But she's a beautiful woman, though. I really love how she looks, and I love her skin. It's popping. It's popping. It's popping. It's popping. And them big old eyes. I love it. She cute. She cute as fuck. Anywho. So I wonder if it does come from a show. Let me know. Let me know. But yeah, they saying they good nights and everything. And William says to her, hey, have lunch with me tomorrow. And she says to him, well, don't you have to fight injustice and save the planet tomorrow? He says, only in the morning. I got to have this costume back by noon. But after that, I'm all yours, sugar booger. So she said to him, well, baby, I better get inside. I got to tell my mama I got a date with the superhero. And she goes on in. And William looks after her and everything. Then he turns around and he says, he like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got to tell my mama I got a date, period. And we get back to the party. And Joan is still trying to have this intervention with Tony, but they sit on the couch now. And Tony is telling her, look, stop judging. Because at this point, okay, Tony has pretty much made the decision that she's going to do it. So the pressure is on, especially when it comes from Joan. And Tony says, look, the thing is, I just don't know where his bear has been, baby. That is a good question. And she goes about asking Joan, can she borrow her bear? And Joan tells her, boo-boo, what is you doing? Now, we done shared a lot of things, but this is where I draw the line. You are not about to be getting into the hanky-panky with Mr. Snuffles. I know, that's right. Girl, go to the store, go to Walmart, go to Walgreens. Get you one of them big old plushies, okay? What's wrong with you? Y'all making this more difficult than it got to be. But, okay, I guess she trying to do it that night. And it's too late to get into a store. But wasn't Walmart open 24 hours during this particular time? Girl, go to Walmart. They got them big old plushie sections. Child, look at me giving her ideas. But at this point where she's asking, where is she going to find an all-night plushie store? Davis and his date seem to be, about to hit the door and go. So Joan got to stop them in their tracks right quick, right fast, because she got to get an update on everything that is going on. And Miss Rancho Cucamonga, whatever it is, South Haven, Miss Southeast, Miss whoever she's supposed to be, honey. I forgot what she called herself already. But Miss LA, Miss Cali, she got to do a ribbon cutting at 9 in the morning. And Joan is like, oh, I'm so sad I can't be there. Oh. And she says, well, you cut that ribbon for all of us, okay? Have a great one. She's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she goes on about her business. Now, David stays behind so that they can, exchange the updates. And he thanks her for having him and asks, is everything going according to plan? Then we get one of her think bubbles of her going through the motions of being like, no, I'm 29, I'm still not married, I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend, I don't have a date, I don't have a man, I don't have any kids, blah, 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 blah. But, of course, he's asking about William. Yes, he is. What's wrong with you? But I guess this kind of popped into her mind because her and Davis have this like underlining tension, this forbidden love energy between them. It's like they're attracted to each other, but it could never happen type shit. Anywho. But also, not to mention, she up here jealous of the bear because he got a better chance of getting some than she do. Unfortunate. But she goes on to tell Davis, yeah, honey, William left with Lori a little while ago. So the bird is flying the coop. He said, good, good. His part is all set up and ready to go. So from here on out, you're on your own. I love to stay with you, but she is Miss South County. And John says, no, South County. That's what she is, Miss South County. And John says, well, yeah, you might want to remind her what her title is because, when she looks in the mirror, her sash is going to appear backwards. Now she done called the girl slow. Tisk. And Davis caught the shade. And John felt like she got a one-up on him because he had nothing else to say. Now we flash back to William and his tight suit and his tight buns knocking on Lori's door. Apparently, she still got his cape. Now, was it a part of the plan to take his cape or did she just improvise? But Lori's mama comes to the door and he like, hey, I'm William. Then I just dropped off Lori and I forgot to get my cape back from her. And mama's like, what the fuck is you talking about? Lori passed away 5 years ago. 5 years ago? He said, what you mean? I just dropped her off 5 minutes ago. She said, baby, do you think a mother would say a type of thing about her own daughter? She's interred at the Birkins mausoleum. If you don't believe me, what is wrong with you? He said, oh, okay, very funny, very funny. Could you please tell your dead daughter that I need my cape back? She said, what kind of deranged person plays a joke like this on an old woman? William says, well, what kind of an old woman plays a joke like this on a horny superhero? I cannot. But William is on in at this point because he said, baby, don't nobody give blue balls to black man and get away with it. William, please get your life. Now we back at the ranch with Joan, and her and Maya and Lynn are surrounding the island and thinking somebody. Okay, we're just gonna say somebody. I feel like I know who it is, but for now I'm just gonna say somebody. And she gets off the phone with them, and she says, okay, William's on his way to the mausoleum. I gotta get over there for the fireworks. Lynn, can you keep the party going for me? And Lynn says, yeah, sure, leave. You don't have to stay. No one else ever has. All right. And then she acknowledges that she is working through abandonment issues. I guess she wanted to go. She wanted to go and engage on the fun and or have them stay there with her, Oh, poor Lynn. Bless her heart. But Maya tells Joan that she is going with her. And Joan says, wait a minute. Everything is falling into place, okay? The party's a success. All her plush things are hidden away. And William is exactly where I want him. I don't want to change my plan now. And Maya said, baby, come on. If William's suspicious, I can coax him into convincing, okay? I took acting in high school. This is the perfect job for me. Now, Golden Brooks definitely went to school for acting. And she's a fine actress. Howsoever, her acting as Maya is a fool. And she's like, you think you could just come in here and tell me what to do? Oh, hell no. And then she say, see, not only did I star in it, I wrote it. Aren't you multifaceted, honey? How cute. And Joan is bent on not improvising. Like, look, I just don't want anything to get in the way of everything that I've planned to a T. It's gone right so far. And I don't want to sabotage it. She also looking at Maya crazy for her little bit that she just did there. As she should. But in the process, they are interrupted because William has stormed into the party. So Joan is like, oh, hell no. Why is he here? He can't be down at the mausoleum if he is back here. This is not good. And he walks on over and said, okay, John, fun is fun, but I need my cape back, or else I'm out of my $35 deposit. So get Lori on the phone and tell her the jig is up. Okay? Maya and John are uncomfortable by his use of the word jig. If you know, you know. But John says, I don't know what jig you're talking about. And he said, look, I know you're trying to scare me, okay? I know you're trying to go through with a lame prank, but it's late and I just lost a date. These tights are riding up. And Maya stops him and says, honey, why on earth do you think that John would be doing something so sinister? And John, in her little think bubble, says, oh, I wish I had an Oscar right now so I can beat her over the head with it. I don't blame you, honey. I don't blame you. And he said, look, I gotta go to that mausoleum and get my cape back, and you coming with me. Maya says, you are playing a fool's game, I tell you. So then we get another thing bubble with John, taking a skillet and busting Maya upside the head. I kind of wish that would have been more than a think bubble. And John says, honey, you're not gonna trick me into going to a mausoleum on a Halloween night just so you can scare me. You was out your mind. And William says, oh, okay. The double reverse psychology bluff calling thingy. Okay, we all going, fuck it. Come on. Well, they all going. And Maya gonna say, now, when we get there, you just need to let me do all of the talking because clearly William is not buying your performance at all. Okay, girl. Okay. Now, they get to the mausoleum. And indeed, William's cape is there, hanging on one of the flower thingies next to the engraving of Lori's name. And it says 1972 to 1995. Okay? Saying that, you know, she done died 5 years ago. So this was 2000. This was the year 2000 that they were in. Interesting. But yeah, so William walks on over, gets his cape, just as cynical as ever, being sarcastic about a whole lot. He starts knocking on the thing, talking about, hello, Lori, are we still on for lunch tomorrow? And John is like, William, stop, have some respect for the dead. Gosh, gee willikers. And he says, oh, what else could happen? Lori coming out of the shadows in scary monster makeup. And it's Lori coming out of the shadows in scary monster makeup. And Joan calls herself giving up and says, okay, he's not buying it, fine. And Lori says, well, baby, just go ahead and give me my check so I can go. Because it's cold in the D. How the fuck we supposed to keep peace? Shawty say she cold. But if she cold, is Maya cold? Because Maya got on less clothes than her and she seemed fine. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, she is kind of clutching herself, but she ain't doing enough for her to be out there naked. Maybe she like the cold, whatever. But Joan says, okay, fine. You got me. I ain't gonna be able to scare you. I give up. You win. And William is feeling good about himself because he said, it's about time you fully recognize my fearlessness. So he walks on over to Lori and says, okay, so you an actress? She said, yeah, I played a corpse on Law and Order. I almost didn't take this gig because I was afraid I was gonna be typecast. Funny. Typecasting is a real thing. Child, I think Maya, the lady that plays Maya, of course, Golden Brooks, kind of got caught up in some typecasting herself. Elise Neal has been typecasted a lot. Gabrielle Union, of course, has been typecasted a lot. Interesting. But as they are exiting, cops walketh in. And now everybody is shooketh. Ain't it interesting how it's Halloween, whole lot of going on. They at a mausoleum, which is essentially a cemetery in case you ain't know. And they more scared by the cops than anything else that's been going on. Yeah. That goes back to that thing that they didn't say at the beginning when John asked Davis, what do black men fear? And what he didn't say was the cops. So here they are, child. The cops come in talking about, what are you people doing here this time of night? And Maya said, look, we just 4 innocent black people hanging out at the mausoleum. And you know what? We were just leaving, Officer Friendly. And William is still taking it for a joke. He said, okay, first you have a bad plan and it fails. I let my guard down and now enter the phony cops. You know what? I'm tired. I'm going home to sort out my candy. And the cops stop him like, You'll leave when I say you can leave. And they commence to the brutality of it all. Slam him on the ground and everything. He like, look, I ain't wearing a cup. Clearly, you're not wearing a cup, sir. Clearly. But he like, hey, can you tell your friends to take it easy? You know what I'm saying? They playing a little too much. John is like, baby, this is not a joke. 911 is a joke. But this is not a joke. Get up to get down. And William like, oh my gosh, so this is real. And the cops say, yeah, and these handcuffs are real too. And Mike said, look, just calm down. Leave him alone, okay? He ain't done nothing but be black. And that's a callback to when he was being all weird and rude and everything, acting like racial profiling was some type of myth or something. And that's when it really sets in too, honey. He started talking about he can't believe that he is a victim of racial profiling. I also feel like a part of him being tone deaf with that is him feeling like an exceptional exception to the rule. He's not a hood black man. He's not a dark skinned black man. You know, he's a lawyer. He speaks proper English. He's not a gangster. He doesn't sag. He doesn't even have a beard or braids or locks. So he felt like he would be an exception to the rule, and or perhaps has failed to see somewhat of his quote unquote privilege that gets him by, that makes most white people feel comfortable with him. He's the quote unquote safe black man. But when it comes to cops, it don't often work like that. And William probably hasn't had many run-ins with the cops until now. And another side of that is him feeling somewhat above shit also because he's a big lawyer, okay? He's a top tier lawyer at that. So yeah, he said he can't believe that he's a victim of racial profiling. And the cops lay it on thick like, oh, does anybody else feel like that? You feel like that? You feel like that? You owe me some money too? And they all like, no, of course not. No, we don't think so. No, absolutely not. So they started pulling him on up off the ground and acting like they finna carry him out. And William said, look, officer, sir, I'm sure you're handling this in accordance with the LAPD and Rampart division policy and all of that. But I am a lawyer and I want to be out of these handcuffs right now. And they say, okay, I tell you what, we'll let you off under one condition. He said, just name it. I'll do it. Now, I wonder what all they would have been able to get William to do in that situation. Okay. I'm going to let that be, though. I'm going to let that be. But if y'all want to, drop it in the comments. What do y'all think William would have been able to do, huh? What is a series of things that y'all think William would have been willing to do to get out of them handcuffs at that moment? What do you think he wouldn't be willing to do? Drop it in the comments. But they tell him, okay, under one condition, all you got to do is look at this woman right here, point at Joan, and you tell her that she got you. Got him. And so she bid them thank you and all of that. And they like, yeah, cool. It's nice working with you. And William looking crunchy. Mind you, he's still in handcuffs. But before the officers leave completely out, little old miniature militant mini-me Yvonne walks on up and is like, hey, we got a 352 on Crenshaw. Y'all need to come on through. And they like, what is a 352? It's the new number address to the new Krispy Kreme on Crenshaw. And the red light is on. That Krispy Kreme light is on. Said the Krispy Kreme light is on. And they giving out free glaze till midnight. So they finna go. But then William brings more attention to himself. Understandably so, because he's still in handcuffs. And he like, hey, is somebody gonna get him up out them handcuffs? Yvonne turned around, shined the light on him and said, oh, William. He said, Yvonne? She said, oh, you remember my name, huh? But I guess you conveniently forgot my phone number. They're like, you know this dude? She said, yeah. You remember the guy I met on the internet? Went out on one date with him at that Sedity restaurant and he ran out on me. And John said, oh, this is internet Yvonne. Oh, crazy Yvonne. Yeah, you're right. She really is crazy. And she said, oh, you told her I was crazy, huh? He said, nah, I ain't tell her you was crazy. I said, I was crazy to lose your phone number. She said, see, nah. You playing with my emotions. And the officers asked her, do you want some alone time with this dude or something? And she said, look, don't worry about Nathaniel. I got all of this. Don't worry about Nathan. Yo, this here is fresh meat, and I'm about to devour. And looked like she prepared to go ham on him with that flashlight. And everybody else is scattering, honey, getting on down. She is indeed about to get her alone time with your boy. Unfortunate. And it's so funny because she's so much smaller than him. And he is so frightened. Child. So I guess one thing that black men, at least this black man, is more afraid of than the cops is an angry black woman cop that he went out on a date with and ran out on. So he about to get police brutality and a fatal attraction all at the same damn time. Tisk. And she got every right and reason to be angry, which means that he got every right and reason to be frightened. And now William yelling out to John for help. And John said, look, baby, the police were payback for this year, but Yvonne, she's payback for last year. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. And Yvonne looked like she about to make him eat that flashlight. I am screaming. Also, in the background, one of the mausoleum tomb things says Cheney Bush. So that's also why I said keep what David said at the beginning in mind, because he made that Bush and Cheney reference, and now here one of the tombs say Cheney Bush. Clever. Now, for the final scene, Joan is walking around cleaning up everything in her house from the party, and Tony walks on in again because Joan's door is unlocked, as always, for anybody to just walk in and out like Selma Lep. So yeah, Tony comes in and basically tells her that she done broke up with your boy and she couldn't go through with the plushy threesome situation. And John says, oh, you be scaring me sometimes, honey. You be scaring me. You be on the edge, but you don't jump, okay? You a weeble that wobble, but you don't fall down. Proud of you. But baby, just hold that thought. Because Tony said, yeah, but look, I got a confession, okay? And she pulls good old Mr. Snuffles out of her bag. This girl had done stole Joan's toy. She stole Joan's stuffed animal, her precious favorite stuffed animal. I've been and kicked her in her coochie. What's wrong with you? Ugh. And he looked like he'd been a little roughed up too. He's a cute little teddy bear and looked like she done let somebody do foul things to him. Terrible. Because they didn't do nothing with him. But then she tells John that there was 10 minutes that she went to the bathroom and he ain't had no chaperone. So he was left alone with that dude. And ain't no telling what happened to him. She let that stuffed animal, that teddy bear, get sexually assaulted. And John is flabbergasted, shocked, and a ninja named Paul. Again, I've been done kicked her in her coochie. But honey, that was the episode, and it was quite a fun one, quite a creative one as well. Like I said, I really appreciate I really appreciate the way that this episode was written and handled and everything. It's very hijinky and has non-serious tones, but a lot of serious conversations and things sprinkled about throughout the episode. And a lot of it has to do with not only racial disparages and discrimination and all of that, but also some sexism things and perhaps also some misogynoir things going on. Also brought up some conversations about kinks and hypersexuality, stereotypes and brainwashing, specifically when it comes to Davis's date, specifically when it comes to her racial identity. Now, a lot of black people would clearly be able to look at her and say, yeah, she's black, of course. But it's also certain other people, including certain other black people, that would look at her and say she ain't black enough, you know? A lot of deep conversations, a lot of triggering conversations, driving while black, derogatory terms, racial derogatory terms that are so casually used but have racist roots, like spook and spooky and jig and stuff like that. A lot of stuff that could go over your head if you don't know Nathaniel about Nathaniel, and you know other oppressive and sexism type things that was going on, that was lightly discussed when it came to Lori, the harem girl, and you know the type of genie that she was and all that. Whole lot of going on in this very hijinky ass episode. Again, that would go over your head if you're not in tune. And like I said, I feel like they did a very good job sprinkling it in there while staying within the time constraint, because the writers definitely had a challenge on their hand with the time constraint as well as the theme and the vibe of the show, because those topics could make things get real deep and long and dark real fast and real easy. That's what she said. But yeah, they did a great job at sprinkling it in there and having them have certain conversations real quick and then getting on with it and staying to the main topic of the show. And like I said, without changing the vibe and the theme of the show. So shout out to the writers. Shout out to the writers, honey. Respect the writers. Pay the writers. Also, because the lack of that is what fucked around and got this show canceled. Okay? Respect and pay the writers, because they be doing the damn thing. Oh, yeah. Lynn and student loans. That's another, heavy topic that was sprinkled in there. And of course, the constant conversation of Joan being taken advantage of by her friends. So, yeah. I believe I covered everything that is everything. If I missed anything, you go ahead and drop it in the comments. Questions I asked throughout, okay? Conversations that we can have. Drop it in the comments. And if it's given what it was supposed to have gave, I'll meet you there down in the comments. But as far as this video, that's all I got. Ain't got no more. And with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this right. And I'm thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quotas for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways, light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.